SVG-TV's news for Friday, January 17th, 2025. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. The $1.85 billion budget, the largest in the country's history, was approved today by Parliament following 4 days of robust debate on the fiscal package. Both government and opposition members participated in the discussions, highlighting various aspects of the proposed budget. In wrapping up the debate, Finance Minister Camilo Gonçalves expressed disappointment with the quality of contributions from members of the opposition. He credited what he described as the excellent contributions of his government colleagues, who he said did an outstanding job of explaining, clarifying, and expanding upon the respective ministries' initiatives, the government's vision, and the policies and programs in place to advance the people-centered vision.
What we are seeking to do, as we say repeatedly in Budget 2025 and previous budgets, is to accelerate developmental transformation. It's not just to tread water. It's not just to do what was done last year and do what was done the year before and nibble around the margins, but it is to transform the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the better, and to do it in an accelerated way. That's what we're trying to do. And when the Prime Minister uses his phrase of a modern, competitive, many-sided, post-colonial economy that is regional, that is local, regional, and global, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about transforming so that we're not talking about the same things that Sir Arthur Lewis was talking about 54 years ago. That we have to be talking about new horizons, new thresholds, and the blueprint is the same. We have to embrace change in technology. We have to produce more in agriculture. We have to invest in the hotel sector. We have to invest in ports. And this is a Nobel Prize winning economist, the same Camilo Gonçalves talking.
Minister Gonçalves noted that the 2025 budget holds significant promise for the rapid and accelerated transformation of the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with a clear focus on improving the nation's future.
Burial, which struck this country to the tune, according to the World Bank, of $875 million. We say $1 billion, but let's use the official number from the World Bank. Burial hit us for $875 million. We are reeling. That is 1/3 of our GDP, 1/3 of our economy gone because of Hurricane Beryl. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition spoke on the matter for 7 minutes out of 4 hours. And his major contribution was that Beryl is being blamed for plenty things that Beryl shouldn't get blamed for. That was his major contribution on the issue of Beryl. That Beryl is being blamed for plenty things that Beryl shouldn't get blamed for. $875 million. Not us say so. The World Bank says so. 1/3 of our economy. 20,000 people displaced. Beryl get blamed for plenty things that they shouldn't get blamed for. We'll move on from that. We don't talk about that. In a response to a budget that is styled as a response to putting people back together after Hurricane Beryl.
In his earlier presentation of the budget, Minister Gonçalves stated that its central focus is on recovery, development, and the well-being of the nation's citizens. He highlighted that the budget allocates $127 million for disaster response and long-term infrastructure projects, with a strong emphasis on people-centered development. Minister Gonçalves also outlined several other key initiatives, including salary increases for public sector workers, as well as a range of new projects and programs aimed at boosting both the social and economic sectors of the country. Opposition Senator Shavon John has commended several programs set to be implemented by the government this year. However, she expressed reservations about the government's approach, specifically critiquing the finance minister's claim of a people-centered budget. John argued that while the government emphasizes its focus on the people, there is a need for a more holistic approach to development, with a broader participation in crafting these programs.
Madam Speaker, a people-centered program does not start from the top. It starts from the bottom up, because we must involve our people. And a people-centered program cannot be carried out unless you have servant leaders. Because you must have leaders who are willing to serve the people. And I hear it many times here, I'm not no anybody's servant. The people elect us, and elect you, sorry, so that you can be of service to them, Madam Speaker. And in doing that, there must be some form of community-driven recovery initiative where the community is involved in whatever is taking place.
With a projected 4.7% growth rate for the country, Senator John questioned whether this growth would be significant enough to benefit ordinary citizens. She raised concerns about whether the economic gains would translate into real improvements in the lives of the people.
Because of all that has been taking place, we realize that people really don't have much money to spend, because of increased cost of living, increased inflation that we are facing. So even though in St. Vincent and the Grenadines there was an increase, and is going to be an increase in minimum wage, Madam Speaker, many householders have to still choose between buying food and paying bills or sending their children to school. Many of them. Because it is not enough to ensure that you live comfortably.
John emphasized the importance of partnerships with non-governmental organizations and community-based organizations. She argued that these partnerships are crucial to ensuring that development is inclusive and truly benefits all segments of the population. In his contribution to the budget debate, Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Salves emphasized that the 2025 budget was crafted with a careful consideration of the challenges that lie ahead. He noted that the revenue generated for the upcoming year will primarily come from the value-added tax, VAT, which is expected to yield $301 million.
Goods and services through inland revenue, the main items there are VAT, 159 million, that's domestic VAT. So between domestic VAT of 159 and 142 million at customs, that's 301 million. We anticipate that we will collect this year because of increased economic activity. Excise duty, 12 million. Insurance premium, 7.5 million. Motor vehicle license, 19.2 million. License and fees for drivers, 5.5 million. And maritime administration, what we set up, collect $3.6 million there. The police collects inspection and examination of vehicles, $3.6 million. I'm dealing with the main items.
During his address, the Prime Minister also took the opportunity to clarify several issues raised by members of the opposition, responding to concerns and providing further context on various aspects of the budget. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is steadily emerging as a leader in the region's medicinal cannabis industry. With over 150 medical practitioners trained in prescribing and dispensing medical cannabis, the country also boasts 5 local pharmacies involved in the industry. This was highlighted by Minister of Agriculture Soboto Caesar during his contribution to the 2025 budget debate. Caesar noted that the country's progress in the medicinal cannabis sector has been significant, pointing out that St. Vincent and the Grenadines was able to host a successful cannabis festival last year, which received a strong support. He also mentioned that other developments within the local industry have been encouraging.
We have opened in Chateaubriand an office for the Medicinal Cannabis Authority, MCA, in conjunction with the Farmer Support Company. And traditional cultivators have obtained support post the hurricane. And we have witnessed over 2,000 patients already treated here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I want to say this to the traditional cultivators, that we will be working to enhance your integration, the National Diversification Plan and Strategy, Budget 2025, and we will be working with the Nyabingi Order and Rastafari, to ensure that there is maximum integration into the value chain.
Minister Caesar also hails the country's success in the exportation of tissue culture material, marking another milestone for the country's agricultural sector.
We have a tissue culture lab in the country, but we're exporting. Under our watch, we have seen the construction of 2 chocolate factories. We open and you close. And soon we'll be seeing a modern starch factory, which is under construction. And this is going to be working to see if we could complete it, everything this year. And plans are in place to transform Vinci Fresh in 2025. We celebrate our ability to attract a state-of-the-art fisheries center. You know how many countries wish they had a fisheries center of the quality of rainforest in their country?
In addition to advancements in the medicinal cannabis sector, Caesar informed Parliament that steps will be taken this year to transform the structures within the Ministry of Agriculture to better address the immediate and threatening challenges posed by climate change.
Within the Ministry of Agriculture, there will be major shifts in structures, management systems within the context of this budget, so that by the end of this year, going into next year, 2026, by the end of 2026, we want to celebrate being the most climate smart and ready agriculture sector in the region. We have to attune our ears to what the scientists, the people who are studying this thing, are saying. The FAO has noted that if global trends continue, by 2050, we'll have major food shortages in the world. Accordingly, within the context of Budget 2025, the ministry, within the month of February, will be signing an MOU with CARDI, the Organization for Research and Development in Agriculture in CARICOM, so that we can begin to look at further training. This will impact all of the technicians at the MCA, at the FSC, the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries.
Caesar also noted that while the 2025 budget has allocated funds to strengthen the Farmer Support Company, there are additional plans for leadership enhancements at all agricultural stations across the country. These improvements will be supported by key international organizations such as the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, the Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, and the Taiwan Technical Mission. Lawrence Oliver, the parliamentary representative for the Southern Grenadines, has highlighted the numerous challenges still affecting residents 6 months after the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Contributions to the debate on the 2025 budget, Oliver told Parliament that vulnerable groups, including the elderly, continue to suffer from the aftermath of the storm. He stressed that the government needs to listen to the people's concerns and address their plight if meaningful progress is to be made. Oliver also expressed that as a representative, he feels sidelined by the government's response.
I asked the question last week concerning what criteria was used to determine how we fix these houses or who houses we fix first. But Madam Speaker, you will think, as being the representative of the Southern Grenadines, who have walked the island for 5 days on a street, 2 in Union, 1 in Myro, 2 in Canawan, that you would have thought that a responsible government would say, you are in the area where the hurricane has struck, you must have some knowledge as to who to fix, and they deal with you on the basis as, let's work with us, let's see what we can do. And if you don't want to take my information, the names I give you, you could go and check for yourself. That is what, but the whole thing as if it is to put you away from everything so that they will see is we the government doing it. You are not involved in no way. For what purpose, I ask? The people elected me. I am the duly elected representative of the Southern Grenadines.
Oliver further noted that with the Southern Grenadines being a popular tourist destination, travelers are being advised to take necessary precautions when visiting the area.
Additionally, Madam Speaker, 6 months after Beryl, I see the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office also issued a travel advisory to their citizens traveling to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is some of the things that they said, or one of the things that they said, that there's a continuing challenges faced by the islands 6 months after Beryl. They recognize the challenges there. So in terms of accommodation and airport use, they're telling the people to check before you book and commit yourself.
Meanwhile, Oliver also mentioned the missing crew members aboard MV Guidance, which disappeared on the day Hurricane Beryl struck Canawan. He stated that the families of the missing crew and the community as a whole continue to grieve the loss. Despite the pain, he noted that they remain hopeful.
Madam Speaker, it's a community in pain. You can't, there's no closure because you don't know what has happened. So the families, the community, everybody, every day, as a youth growing up in Canawan, Madam Speaker, sometimes when a boat is missing, you get up in the morning and you keep looking out and you're hoping that sometime during the course of the day or the days, that news will come that everything is all right. And sometimes it happens, other time it's not. And I shudder to think, especially for the families, how they feel trying to cope with this situation.
In honor of the missing crew, a candlelight vigil will be held tomorrow, Saturday 18th, starting at the home of the captain and proceeding to the Canawan Wharf. In other news, the Ministry of National Mobilization has added 150 names to the list of recipients for the government's vulnerability grant, known as the Public Assistance Program, with a focus on the elderly and persons with disabilities. This was announced by Minister of National Mobilization Kisal Peters during her contribution to the budget debate. Peters also highlighted plans for expanding family counseling services to remote areas, along with the creation of a dedicated desk for the vulnerable, including the elderly and persons with disabilities.
First, we will see the establishment of a desk to facilitate services to provide persons with disabilities who require advocacy, financial and psychosocial support, and we can provide that to them. And we're going to do this, Madam Speaker, in collaboration with UNICEF. Madam Speaker, we'll also see the establishment of MOVE. And my brother, the Honorable Minister of Finance, he spoke about the Mobile Vincentian Empowerment Service, and it is a transportation service for persons with disabilities and also persons who are ill. And Madam Speaker, we are able to launch this program with vigor and with pride, thanks to the partnership with the government of Japan.
Additionally, Minister Peters revealed that 5,000 individuals will receive income support and cost of living allowance, which will continue until February. Furthermore, a family support grants will be provided to 100 households with conditional cash transfers available for unemployed individuals between the ages of 18 and 45. These individuals will be required to register for technical and vocational education or TVET training programs.
Madam Speaker, under the family support grant, which is $250 monthly, there will also be an additional $80 per month to cover transportation expenses for persons to attend the TVET program. Madam Speaker, the registration for the TVET programs, the cost will also be borne by the ministry and paid under the grant. And of course, under the family support grant, students under that grant will receive uniform assistance for back to school in September. Well, before September, but in time for September. Madam Speaker, we also have to look forward to the Wholesome Empowerment for Citizens While Advancing the Nation program. The acronym is We Can, the We Can project. And we had partnered with WFP for this program, whereby persons who receive family support grants could engage in agricultural production.
Other initiatives outlined by the minister include the establishment of a child development facility aimed at protecting at-risk children, as well as the formation of a National Justice Committee. Minister Peters also announced plans to decentralize most of the ministry's program in 2025. The president of the Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, has expressed strong dissatisfaction with the 2025 national budget, noting, like those in previous years, fails to meet the essential needs of the nation's educators.
From the context of the Teachers Union, we try to catch the budget every time it is due. And we are having conversation with the government. We had consultations last year, and we also had consultation this year. And we submitted to the government, we put everything in writing, and we have not seen anything substantial, right? There are a number of issues related to schools to be rebuilt. There are a number of issues related to promotion, appointments.
Robinson further highlighted that there are still significant amounts of money owed to teachers, principals, and former principals by the government. These outstanding payments, he argued, are a continued burden on educators who have already been working under difficult conditions.
Is on record in the Guinness Book of Record for not paying monies that they owed when they lose in the High Court. They owe us $58,000, and every year we reminded them we are putting it in writing, and they're still not doing it. They have owed the principals in St. Vincent and Grenadines $90 from the end of the year allowance every year since 2010. So if you do the maths, you would see how much each principal who would have been in the service from that time up to now. One of our members who was working in the Southern Grenadines never received her end of year allowance. And we put all those in black and white. We address it to the government for the budget.
The Teachers Union president also pointed out that the 2025 budget does not address several critical issues that are affecting the teaching profession.
Mention about installing water storage tanks in all education institutions. When the last volcano erupted, St. Vincent and the Grenadines got tons of tanks. Hurricane Beryl came, they got more. But yet, up to this week, we had schools in Central Leeward and North Leeward didn't have water just because the Central Water Authority had a challenge with a pipeline. If we had those water tanks in school, school will continue. We also talk about putting in generators on a phase-by-phase basis. So in the event electricity goes, school will continue and other government institutions. So I am really disappointed